what I had been pondering on was, being the blueprint, right? Understanding that, like, you're the person that you needed. Because I feel like everybody is, at one point in time or another, always expecting for other people to be something for them, right? Or to be the person that they need in order to survive, in order to whatever the case may be. And it kind of is that way. It's kind of entrained in you as a child, right? Because you do need these adults in order to survive and all this kind of stuff. And so it's kind of like entrained in your mind. But I think the first thing to understand about being a blueprint, about understanding how you are the blueprint, is accepting that nobody else can do anything to make you whole, right? That is an inside job, that is a you thing. And so, and when we talk about a blueprint, right, we know that a blueprint is like when we think about construction, we think about how they'll take out this big roll of paper and roll it out, and it's a big blue roll of paper, and it has all these white lines on it because there's this building or this construction, whatever, that they're trying to build and make manifest in the physical plane, right? Somebody had an idea, thought about it, and the blueprint is the the instructions on how to make it manifest, how to do this thing, how to get this thing physically here. You know what I mean? So when we think about us being the blueprint, right, in terms of like us thinking, if we come from the lens of expecting other people to do something for us, right, it's kind of like with religion a little bit, right? Not a little bit. It's kind of like with religion that teaches you to wait on somebody to come and save you, right? To wait on the savior rather than understanding that, like, you can, it's an inside job, right? Salvation is an inside job. Excuse me. So it's like a process that you have to go through where you literally have to separate yourself from these thoughts. Like, you start off with like this heavy feeling throughout life. You're not aware that you're heavy, but you're just heavy. You know what I mean? And you really don't know it until you know it. And that's the thing. Life has to happen to you so much that you finally become aware of this heaviness that you were unaware of. And I believe that particular awareness about that comes in different ways and forms for everybody. But in, you know, life, right, in early life, you're kind of cloaked, right, under all of these frequencies, under all these like low vibrational frequencies, all these, the fear, the scarcity, the lack, right, all these things. And so you think that these processes or these frequencies or these like emotions and all these things are yours, right? And so you carry them with you, and you end up broadcasting those frequencies because you were cloaked under them the entire time, right? Because you're unaware of the heaviness from those frequencies that you're cloaked under. The cloaking is what's heavy, right? Because you're unaware of it. And so as you go through life, as life happens to you, right, you get to a process where you start to, that's why they tell you to practice things like journaling or whatever, because it helps you to like pattern recognition. It helps you to like recognize a pattern. It helps you to like look at your thoughts, like, and not be so attached to your thoughts and your emotions and all that kind of stuff, because you can't see clearly, right? And so in you doing something like that in this process, right, because life is just tearing you up at this point, so you have no choice but to just go see about yourself. So you go and you start seeing about yourself, and you start looking at your thought processes. You start noticing patterns. You start noticing things that are going on, and eventually this gives you an awareness, right? And I like to liken it to like awareness. I like to liken it to portrait mode on an iPhone. Like, portrait mode on an iPhone, in order for the picture to really pop out the way it does, you have to detach what you want to see. Like, the portrait mode detaches what you really want to see from the background, and it neutralizes the background. You know what I'm saying? So you can't really see necessarily all what the background is, like completely fully. Like, through clear lenses, you can only see what you really wanted to see. And so that's kind of like how awareness is with your thought processes. It's like, in order to detach from the thought of, like, let's say something is like scarcity or lack concerning money or something like that, right? you have to detach from that thought process, right? And so in order to detach, it might be a certain situation or a trigger, right? That's why triggers are important, because the trigger might come up and something concerning money or whatever the case may be. Well, you need to detach from the emotion of it, right? But in order to detach from the emotion, you have to neutralize the situation or the circumstances, meaning no, nothing is up or down, left or right, right or wrong. It just is, right? And you don't put a label on it, and then you're able to be aware of the situation as it is, right? And so it's like a process in you doing that. And in you doing that, what you don't even realize is you're uncloaking yourself from all of these frequencies that have been weighing you down, all of these thought processes that have been weighing you down since you can remember, you know? And in you raising your frequency, I mean, you done got to a point to where you done really awoken yourself, you know? Now you done healed parts of yourself and you're able to like just operate at a whole new level. And so how did you get from being cloaked under all those frequencies to being free from them? You know what I'm saying? How did you gain that sovereignty? That's the blueprint right there. Because the very same thing that you probably needed in somebody else to do for you, you know, you just did it in whatever the process was that got you there. So, you know, that's all I wanted to say.